Welcome to the Heroic Voice. I'm David Berge, Vice President at Heroic Publishing, and I have a pre-production copy of Tales of the Champions number 68. This is 48 pages with a Paul Abrams cover. The cover story about the Winsome Whipperette is followed by the second chapter in our new Challenge of the Gods storyline. The backup story has G-Girl investigating exactly what those powers can do. That's Whipperette on the cover. If you can't guess what she does, I'm going to do a flip through. Spoilers ahead. This is our first Tales of the Champions, number 68, but it continues the numbering from our very first title, Champions, just with a slight renaming. I know it says 52 pages, but that includes the cover. 48 pages by my reckoning. Cover story by Dennis and Henry Martinez. Whipperette and her brother Ultralash are twins, Patricia and Carlos. Their father, Senor Fuentes, is a retired Zorro-like folk hero. We are in Argentina at the family compound. Father and Carlos are receiving a guest. In costume and mask, the guest calls himself General ANCAP. But then, Agents of Terror Incorporated attack, along with two of their supervillains, Le Poignard and Esperita. We fight. The flying woman Esperita can be intangible, but both of the twins use mystical emerald energy that can affect her. Unexpected green glow. Patricia, Whipperette, shows up because Carlos needs her. Esperita states that Terror Incorporated is only after the evil General ANCAP, the guest. Of course, the Fuentes family defends their guest. Henry Martinez keeps this all interesting with a variety of attacks and camera angles. Le Poignard is captured. Esperita escapes. So everyone discusses why Terror Incorporated was after General ANCAP. This story is actually set a few years ago. ANCAP is the alter ego of an economist and TV personality. This attack goads him into jumping into Argentine politics. The system in Argentina is corrupt, so they know Le Poignard will be free soon. Somebody needs to change the system. So-called General ANCAP decides he will definitely enter politics. This is a real public person, General ANCAP. You can figure out who he is or read the story. We've used real people before. The first President Bush was in a League of Champions. We've been doing this a while. Walter Koenig was in Eternity Smith. We used him with permission. He liked that he got the girl at the end, something Anton Chekhov never did. At the end of the cover story, Whipperette gets a phone message that leads us into story 2. The other end of that message is at the Avery Mansion. The Tigress and Black Enchantress are talking. They are looking forward to a chance to mess with the gods of Olympus. And this is the second chapter of the Challenge of the Gods. Story by Dennis and Giancarlo Caracuza. Patricia, or Whipperette, arrives at League of Champions headquarters that is also Flair's home. This story is a big gathering of who's who around the heroic multiverse, some of whom don't like each other, so the dialogue contains a lot of friction. Besides Whipperette and Flair, Nyx and Aphrodite here. Corey, Athena, Hermia, Artemis, children Summer and Autumn. Many of these characters are callbacks to the very first Champions arc, the Eclipse miniseries. The story reminds us that Zeus is acting badly, completely in character. Flair as Eos, the Dawn, is Queen of Olympus, but she is never there. Olympus needs a new queen, and the goddesses are going to compete for the crown or laurel wreath. We have a collection of goddesses. Why is Whipperette here? Patricia explains that she spent time on a distant world of Morak posing as a goddess, but the emerald energy she and her brother wield is a gift of their sun god, Azog. So she was worshipped as a goddess and she qualifies as a goddess. Hermia pulls a knife, spawn of Azog, who's basically a demon. As I said, these folks do not get along. Some of them want to win the competition. Some of them will compete but don't want to be queen. So when you write something like this, you have characters who normally never see each other. You should take advantage of the opportunity to see how they interact. Eventually, Flair pulls her mother's sword and opens a gateway to Olympus. Poof. And other than Zeus, the gods of Olympus are waiting for them. To be continued in Heroic Spotlight 27. I'm going to quickly touch on Federalist Paper 15. You'll find these Federalist papers in many of our issues, generously supplied by Liberty Girl. These were written while the new American Constitution was being considered and possibly ratified by the states. In Federalist 15, Alexander Hamilton explains why the current Continental Congress is not up to the job and we need a new form of government. Our third story, G-Girl in the San Francisco Bay Area realizes that in that fight with Ogre, he got away and was actually going somewhere. The old demon base under the bay. Billy has been here before a few times, most recently with Pamela, who kissed him. He was giant then. Pamela is here. She is an engineer working on something. Pamela suspects or knows who G-Girl is, but Billy is sticking to the cover story of Daughter of Giant. After some initial friction required by the Comics Code, Pamela the engineer wants to see how the connection works between G-Girl and the golden costume or harness. I'm not going to go through this in detail. Better if you read itself. But G-Girl can move the costume mentally, switch clothes with Pamela. A lot of really detailed experiments with powers you hardly ever see in comics. It's risky for the writer because it ties the writer's hands later. Although, if you're good, loopholes and corner cases in a character's powers can suggest stories. One more kiss, and Pamela finds out that kissing G-Girl is not like kissing Giant, even though it's the same person. That ties into one of G-Girl's powers that we've touched on before. And that's Tales of the Champions number 68. As I record this, Kickstarter is underway until October 22nd. If you missed out, you can get a digital copy at Drive-Thru Comics. You can get a printed copy from us or at Indie Planet. You might be wondering about the various plot threads that led into this issue. Challenge of the Gods started in Flare 47, with various previous stories foreshadowing this problem. Whipperette has appeared 7 times before. The sensational G-Girl has her own title, of course. And G-Girl has appeared in other places, 10 issues. That's Tales of the Champions 68. If you like these flip-throughs, hit that like button, please. And subscribe to all of our material at The Heroic Voice. Thank you.